last time there was a query that how to pick up a file from a folder, right? If you have multiple files in a folder, then how to consolidate it. So just watch on the screen. I'll just run on one macro here. So what this macro will do is, first it will ask, where is the folder from where you want to pick up the files? So I have this folder here. In that, I have some files in a folder called as region, and we are going to consolidate those files. So I'll just click on the folder here, click on OK, and you'll see that it will automatically pick up the data from those files and put it here. Okay. So if I go to the region folder, there are 4 sheets here. Okay, region wise sheets. And what this macro is doing is it is picking the data from those sheets one by one and putting it in this particular sheet. Okay, I'll show you the code. I'll also copy and paste it. Once I explain the code, you can go through the code, and if you have any difficulties or doubts, you can always ask me. The code is visible, everyone?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So what I'm doing is I'm defining a variable called as folder path. This folder path will store the path of the folder. Even if it is in a different location, that path will be stored. So I'm defining it as a string. String means your folder path mainly consists of characters. So I'm defining it as a string. The file name, even that is a string. Okay. So first time what I'm doing is, if I have any previous data here, that should be cleared. So cells.clear. Then this particular statement, file dialog ms dialog folder dot picker is what is that? The browse window that you see, this is called as a file dialog. Okay. And if I just write file dialog, and if I open the bracket, I'll get all the options here. Okay. So we need to pick either the files or the folder. So we have a dialog box called as MSO file dialog folder picker. Now, when that browse window is displayed, I'll run it step by step. F8. Now all the data will get erased. Then when I say with application dot file dialog, now this particular window that you see, this is the file dialog. Okay. Now I need to select the folder, and when I click on OK, that will send a value to this particular file dialog. So if the value is -1, that means I want to select that particular folder for getting the files. If I click on cancel, it will give a value 0. So if the value is 0, I'm telling it to exit from that particular program. Okay. So I'm clicking on OK. So that will give the value -1. So it will come into the loop. Dot selected items means if there is at least one file inside the folder, then I want to display the path. Now the path, if I select just regions, then it will not go inside the region folder. So if I want to go inside the region folder, I need to concatenate with this slash. So it will go inside that folder. Then here I'm displaying the entire folder path. Okay. This is just for our information, whether it is showing the exact folder path or not. So once the program is running fine, you don't have to display it in a message box. I'll click on OK. Now when I say file name equals directory folder path, this will store the name of the file. Okay, the first file that is in a sequence. So this will contain the path. So you can see here that it will go inside that particular folder. And I'm telling that do while file name is not equal to space. If the folder is empty, then it will not have any files. In that case, the file name will have the value blank or 0. So in that case, I don't want it to go into the loop. You should go into the loop only if the file name is some characters. F8. Now in this case, it is going to open that particular workbook, which is in this folder and the file name. So if I keep my mouse on that, you can see it has picked up the file called as each.xls. Then in that, I am opening it, selecting the first sheet because there is only sheet here, one sheet here. Okay. Then in that, I'm going to A1 and then I'm selecting the whole data. And now once the data is copied, I'm directly copying it. Okay, if you look here, active cell dot and Excel to right dot copy. That means once it is copied, it will be copied in the clipboard. Once it is copied in the clipboard, I can close this particular workbook. After that, when I paste it, it will paste the data from the clipboard. So I'm closing that workbook. Then I'm coming back to our main sheet where I want the data to be consolidated. There I'm going to A1 first. Then I'm going down, then coming up so that it comes to A2. Then I'm pasting it. Once it has pasted, I need to go back to the same folder again. So to come out of the directory, you just write file name equal to dir without any arguments. So it is like you are going back to the root directory. Then loop. Again, I'm checking whether the file name is null. Then now when I say file name equal to dir, it will automatically pick up the next file that is in a sequence. Okay. Again F8. Now I'll see that it has opened the workbook called as North region. That is North. Then copying it, again closing it. Now it should come to the cell 23. Then pasting it. Then again opening this file called as South. There is one more file. Now we have only 4 files, so it should come out of the loop now. Okay. Now, when it has copied and pasted, you will see that in this consolidated sheet, there is a blank row. Okay. So I need to remove that. We don't want a blank. So that will be removed. Then I'm going to A2. Now here you will notice that we have multiple headers. So we need only one header, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going to A2, selecting the entire column. And I'm telling that for each header cell in selection, if the header cell dot value equal to employee code, if it is employee code, then I need to delete it because we don't want multiple headers. So it is checking for each value. Once it finds a match, Now it has found a match. So it is coming inside that if. Then I'm telling that if the match is found, you delete it. So you'll see that it has deleted the header which was in row 22. Likewise, it should delete all the headers. Now if I look here, if I cross check, I should be getting 101. That is including the header, we have 100 records. So what I've done is I just taken all the east records and copied and pasted in a sheet and named it as east. Likewise, north, south, west, and then I'm consolidating it. Okay. So I'll copy and paste it, the code in the chat. I'll also send across this particular file if you want.
Yes, sir. Please send.
Before you run this macro, you should make sure that you have 4 sheets created and that is in a different folder. Okay. Don't put the macro and the files which you are going to consolidate in the same folder. I'll copy the code as well as send the file across. Okay. Once the training is over, I'll send the file to Prabhas and he will share the file with all of you. Fine. Okay. Now let us start with today's topics.
Hi Amar, I have a quick question here. Same this formula. So there's a formula says Windows and it will open your region consolidation.xlm file.
Correct.
And it the active cell. So suppose if it my that consolidation file is kept somewhere else, do we need to overwrite that? You can't say as Windows.
No, when I say Windows region consolidation.xls, see when you open multiple workbooks, suppose I want to select a different workbook, what we normally do is we click with the mouse and open that. Right.
Correct.
So the sheet on which you are going to consolidate, that will be already open. Now suppose this is a workbook that is open here. Now suppose I open one more workbook, say north. Okay. So now if I look at the bottom here, I can see 2 workbooks here, right? So when I select Excel VBA again, right now north is selected. Now suppose I want to select that file called as Excel VBA. What I do is I go to the tab at the bottom and select Excel VBA. Now this process of shifting between the workbooks is what you achieve by the statement activate. So what I've written here is when I say Windows and the path dot activate, what that will do is it will just select that particular file. But before you select that particular workbook, you need to open it.
Okay, it should be open.
Correct. So that is what I'm doing here. Workbooks dot open and I'm giving the folder path. So from that folder, it will open this particular workbook.
Okay.
Okay. And when I say it will open a workbook, and whenever you open a workbook, that becomes the active workbook. So once I copy the data, I'm closing it. Then when I use this particular statement, then this particular workbook is getting activated. Simply activated means it is getting simply opened because it is already there.
Okay, another question is you said that you have to place all the files in the folder and it will pick all the files in that particular folder once
Correct.
the path is open. But what if in that particular path there are hundreds of files and I have to choose only 3 files? Can't it give the option to select
Huh.
the file from
So
that?
yeah, correct. So there is an option called as in that folder picker, you have option called as multi-select. If I
Mm.
select multi-select, it will allow you to select the files also. And only the files that you select that will be consolidated.
Okay,
Okay.
and
If you want the code for that, I can give you the code for that also.
just we need to replace file dialog file picker with file dot multi select file dialog
Yeah.
multi.
Multi-picker. I think you will get the option here also. If I think for that the statement is a little different. I'll just check it out and let you know that. But that is possible. You also have a multi-select option here. If you say allow multi-select, this should allow you to select multiple files also.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Just
But I'll
just should
huh,
allow to select. No, nothing else we need to add to this.
correct. Yeah.
Thanks.
But I'll
Thank you.
just cross check it and let you know.
Sure.
And I'll put it in a comment so that you can also run that and see.
Sure.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. So open the same file, Excel VBA. Okay. So last time we had seen up to cross application macros. Okay. Now today's topics are we are going to start with user forms. Then we'll see how add-ins can be created. And then finally we'll do a assignment. Now on day 2. Okay. On day 2, we have done a program called as data entries, right? In this data entries program, we have seen that we can get values from the user. But if I want to get the values from the user, what we are doing is we are using a statement called as input box. So if I want to get 4 entries, I need to use 4 times input boxes. Now this can be very time consuming and irritating. Suppose you want to 15 inputs, then you need to use 15 input boxes, right? So that will be very irritating to the user. So instead of that, what we can do is we can also use something called as user forms. So user forms is a form where you can design, put the controls and get multiple inputs at the same time. Okay. So let us see how the user form can be designed. You can also do it along with me. Go to the Visual Basic Editor. Like we insert a module, we can also insert a user form. So one method is just right click on any module, insert, and you select user form. Or we can also go to insert tab and select user form. The moment I click on user form, you will get a interface like this. Along with the user form, you'll also get a toolbox which has all the controls that can be inserted in the user form. Okay, so this is mainly used to create, say, data entries, or if you want to take any entries on the inputs from the user. Now, if I keep my mouse on this any control of the toolbox, you see that it is giving me some definition of that control. So A is label. Next to that, we have a text box, combo box, checkbox, radio buttons, If I come to the next line, we have command buttons, spinners, scroll bars. Okay. Now suppose I want to display a label in the user form. One method is you just click a single click on that icon and come back to the user form, again click. So you'll see that one label control has been created. But suppose I want multiple labels, then just double click on that icon of label, come back to the user form, and you can go on inserting any number of controls. In this case, label. Once I inserted the number of labels that you want, you can go back to the toolbox and click once again, and the selection will be removed. If you accidentally close this toolbox, you can again display it by going to View, Toolbox. Okay. Now we'll create a small entry interface here, data entry interface here. So just double click on that A icon, that is a label, come back to the user form, insert some labels. Now if I display this user form, it will be displayed like this. Okay. Now the user who is going to enter the data, he will not understand what are these labels, right? So we need to give some meaningful names to that. So I select on label 1. When I select label 1 on the properties window, now here we will be extensively using the properties window. On the properties window, you can see something called as name. Name is label 1, and you also have a caption called as label 1. Now the name is by which the program identifies the control. So for the program, this control will be called as label 1. Caption is what is displayed to the user. Okay. So in this case, we'll be changing the caption property of this particular control. So instead of label 1, I want to display it as, say, EMP code. Then label 2 will be, say, full name. You can also do it along with me. Label 3 is post. Four is department. 5 is salary. 6 is the HRA. 7 is TA. 8 is gross. Now I have one extra label here. So again, just select it. Select it so you get the outline. Then you just delete it. Now if I run this user form, you'll see that it is giving a user form like this. Okay. Now for the employee code, I want a text box. All the labels except department will have a text box. For the department, we are going to give a combo box. Okay. So I want multiple text boxes. So come back to the toolbox, double click on that button, which it is control, which is written as ABC. Just double click on that, come back to the user form and go on clicking. Except for department, all the other controls will be text boxes. For the department, We'll give a combo box. We'll do the alignment afterwards. Now you'll notice here that the alignment of these labels are not in a straight line. So if I want to align it, one method is you click on the employee code, press Control, and click on the other controls. All the controls will be selected. And then you can go to Format and change the alignment. Or you can also drag the mouse through all the controls. It will be automatically selected. Then to align it, click on Format, Align, Align to the left. You can also align these text boxes. Select all, Format, Align, Align to the left. Now here we see that the label TA and the text box TA, they are aligned. But if you look at the gross and the text box for the gross, it is not aligned properly. So I can select that, go to Format, Align, Align to the top. Even this can be, HRA can be aligned, moved next to the salary. The designing depends on you. You can design it in any manner. So if the alignment gets changed, you need to align it again. Now I'll have some buttons. So on the second line, we have something called as command button. We need 3 command buttons. So double click. Now I want the first command button to be named as calculations. When I click on the command button 1, it should calculate some values. Then we need a save button and a exit button. Okay. Now the command button 1, you can see the name property is command button 1. Now when you're going to write a program behind this particular button, then command button 1, the name command button 1 can be confusing. So we can also rename it. So instead of command button 1, I'll give the name as calculation calc underscore button. And the caption will be, name will be calc underscore button. Caption will be calculations. Command button 2, all these values that we put in this text boxes, that needs to be saved in the Excel sheet. So I'll give the name as save underscore button. And the caption will be save. Save or submit. Command button 3 is going to be exit. So exit button, name property will be exit underscore button. And the caption is going to be exit. So if I run the user form, this is how it will look. Okay. So I can enter any employee code here. Then name, post. But if I click on this drop down of department, it is totally empty. Okay. And if I enter any salary, and if I click on calculations, nothing is going to happen because we are not written the program. What should happen when calculation button is clicked? Okay. Now this is the design. To come back to that interface again, this is your user form. To come back to the design format, click on the close. You will come back to the design mode. Now sometimes when you design the form, you might accidentally click somewhere on the user form, or you might double click the buttons. So when you click on any part of the user form, it can be a control, it can be the user form. You will come to this code window. So now you'll see that I had clicked the user form. So I'm in this particular code window. Okay. So now if I want to go back to the user form again, the design interface, on the left hand side, you have this user form. Just double click on it. You'll come back to the design format. We can also give background colors to the user form. So if I want to give a color to the user form, make sure that you click somewhere in the user form, not on any controls. Just click somewhere on the user form. And you'll see that the name property has changed. The name is user form 1. Here also you can give a caption, because if you look at the title of the user form, it is showing user form 1. So we can change the caption property. We'll write it as employee entry form. Okay, caption property. Let the name property remain as it is. We are not going to write any program in the user form. To change the background color, click anywhere in the user form. You have a property called as back color. Click on the dropdown of that. We'll select palette. And from here you can select any color. Even the label colors, they need to be changed. So drag through all the controls and give the same background color. We can change the color of these buttons also. So select calculations, back color, palette. Okay, now if I run this, it should look something like this. Hope I'm not going fast. Is this clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, when I display this user form on the screen, that process is called as initialization. Now this drop-down or combo box should get populated when the form is displayed on the screen. That means when the form is initialized on the screen. So what I'll do is come back to the design and double click anywhere in the user form. Okay, not on the control, anywhere in the user form. The moment I double click it, we see that we go to a code window. Now this code window is similar to the code window that we have already seen. When you write the program, you get a code window. But this code window is private. Private means it is available only for the controls that is in the user form. This cannot be accessed by other modules. So that is why you have this name. Hello.
So one thing, sir. So this user form and Excel, from options we go to customize ribbon, we do all commands and we select form and we add it into Excel. We get it into ribbon bar. So
Correct.
that form and this form is different, sir.
Yeah, that form is different.
Okay.
What that is, that will automatically create a form based on your fields, right?
Okay.
That
So,
form will
but
automatically.
that form doesn't save in Excel, no, but that goes off, I believe.
No. You can also save the files, the values in that.
Okay. So can you please tell me when you will explain this form, can you please explain that form also a little bit?
Yeah,
How
I will do
to...
that. Yeah, I will do that. So that is a ready-made form, but you can't design it. It is like a template. Okay, that is automatically created
Yes, sir.
by Excel, and you can also
Yes, sir.
put values inside that. If I'm not wrong,
Yes.
you also have options like new, go to the first record, go to the last record, go to the next record. All the buttons are there. And if you click on
Okay.
new, you can enter
Yes, sir.
any new values. And I think there is
Okay.
also an option called as add it to the user form. We'll see that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Yeah.
So when you double click on that user form, it will open a code window. Okay. And this code window is private. That means this code is available only to the user form. Fine. Similarly, if I double click, let us say I double click on this save button, it will open one more private module in the same code window, but in a different module. I mean subroutine. Okay. So if you double click accidentally on any control, you don't have to worry about that. You can come back to the user form anytime by just double clicking on the left hand side. Okay. Now here, when I double click on the user form, we'll get something like private sub user form click. Because I clicked on it, I'm getting the subroutine called as user form click. Like that, there are many properties of the user form. You have user form, say mouse click, you have user form enter, you have user form double click. Now, how do you know all the properties of the user form? When I select the user form, you can see on the top, okay, just below that toolbar, it is saying user form. And on the right hand side, you can see click. That means this is a property of user form. And if I click on the drop down, that is on the extreme right hand side, you will see all the properties of the user form. So activate, user form underscore activate, user form click, user form double click, then user form key down, right? User form layout. So we need a property called as initialize. So click on initialize. So you'll get one more module called as private sub user form initialize. Fine. So initialize is a process that is activated when the user form is displayed on the screen. Okay, that particular process is called as initialization. I want the combo box to be populated when the user form is initialized on the screen. Now, first we need to see what is the name of the combo box. You can also have multiple combo box in a user form. So how will you get the name? Just select the control and you'll see the name here. Okay, combo box 1. You can also rename it if you want. So right now we have only one combo box, so no need to rename it. How will you go back to the same subroutine? Double click. You will come to the code window. So here I will write to populate the combo box. I will write combo box 1 dot add item. Okay. Now the first department that I want to display is say admin. Okay. So this will display one value in that combo box. Now we need multiple departments. So just copy it and paste it. So then second department is, let us say, accounts. Now when I display the user form on the screen, the combo box should be automatically populated. So how do you display the user form on the screen? Just click on the play button. Okay, on the top you have the play button, play, then reset, pause. Just click on the play button. Now I can enter any employee code, name, post, and if I click on the drop down of department, it should show me these values. Okay. This much is clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Huh. Now, when I click on this button calculations, all these values, that is HRA, TA, gross, that should be calculated and displayed here. When I click on save, these values, that is in this text boxes and combo boxes, that should get saved in the Excel sheet. And when I click on exit, you should be able to come out of the user form. Okay. So we need to write the program of calculations behind the calculation button. Likewise, the program for save should be written behind the save button and for exit behind the exit button. So how will I go to that subroutine of calculations? Just double click on that calculation button. That subroutine will get opened. So here you can see it is saying private sub calc button, click. So when I clicked on that calculation button, this particular module has opened. Suppose the name is command button 1. This will be sub command button 1 click. So that can be a little bit confusing. So it is always better to rename the name property of those buttons. Especially when you have many controls, it is better to rename it. First, I'll define some variables here because in the user form, you will see that we have inserted a text box even for salary. So when the user enters any value for the salary, it will be stored as a text because this is a text box. We don't have a control which will get number values. Okay, we have a control only as a text box. So everything that you enter there will be stored as a text. Now when the value is stored as a text, and if you do the calculations on that, it can give an error. Okay, so we need to convert this value into number and then do the calculations. So for that, I'm defining some variables here. Dim, EMP, salary as long. Always safe to define it as a long, because if we define it as an integer, sometimes it will throw an error because integers have a limit. They can store only values up to 33,000, 33,327 something. Okay. Then I'm going to define HRA as long again. So if we define it as a long, you don't have to worry about the limitation. Long can store millions, billions. We need two more variables. EMP, TA as long. We can also define it in a single sentence. Now suppose I want to define gross. I don't have to again write dim. I can just give a comma and say EMP gross as long. Okay. So we can also define multiple variables in a single sentence.
Long means like
Long means it can take values that can go up to millions, billions.
okay.
When I enter a value, see when I run the program, when I enter a value, let us say, suppose say 45,000. Okay. And when the HRATA is calculated, the gross might be more than. If you want to accept only say positive values, then if you define it as an integer, it can take up to 65,000. But if we define it as a value, which should take say negative values as well as positive values, then the maximum value that can be inserted in a variable that is defined as an integer is 33,000 something. So if the value goes above that, this will give an error. Okay, if we define it as a integer. But if we define it as a long, I can enter any value here and it won't give any error. It can take value that is into millions, billions.
Got it. Yeah.
Huh. So we have defined.
Sorry. What if we added any text alphabet to that particular cell, give an error, right? Because we.
So in that case, we need to give a validation for that. We'll come to that also. By chance, suppose even though we have written a salary, suppose somebody is entering a text value, it should give a throw a error. Okay, that is called as the validation part. So we'll come to that also. Okay. So salary is long, all the other values are long. Now I need to get the value that is in that text box. What is the text box? For salary, it is, you can see it is text box 4. Okay. Now it might be different in your case. Depends on how you are inserted, in what sequence you are inserted it. So first we need to get the value that is in text box 4 and store it in the variable. Since I have defined EMP salary as long, the moment I store that value, it will be converted into a numerical value. So here I will write EMP salary equals text box 4 dot value. Okay. It is text box 4. HRA is text box 5. This is 6 and this is 7. Now I have converted that text value into number. So I can do the calculations here. So EMP HRA equals, let us say 40% of salary. TA will be say 20% of salary again. EMP gross will be the summation of this. Now we have done the calculations. Now these values should be displayed on the user form. So how will you display it? In my form, HRA is text box 5. So I'll write here text box 5 dot value equals EMP HRA. Okay. You can even copy and paste this and change the number of the text box. Six will be TA. Your text box numbers and my text box numbers might be different. So make sure that you are using your text box numbers. Now if I run this, okay.
Display.
Pardon?
Set to add S display.
As display.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. Now this will put the values on the form. After that, the next step is once the values are calculated, we need to save the values in the Excel file. So I already have a sheet called as EMP info here. So first we need employee code, then name, post, department, So when I click on save, those values should be saved here. And then you should also clear the previous values. Any value that is entered in these text boxes that should be cleared after it is saved in the Excel sheet. So we need that program when I click on save. So double click on that. Now, how will I come to this particular cell? My cell position is A1. How will I come here? You go down, come up, then come one row down. Okay, the same logic that we have used earlier. So first I need to select the sheet. So sheets. Dot select. Then range. If you are sure that your data is not going to go beyond 5,000, you can also write 5,000 dot select. Then active cell dot end. Excel up. I can combine the statements Excel up and offset together also. Okay. Offset 1,0 dot select. So what this will do is it will go to the top as well as come one row down. So in this case, this will be my active cell A2. So I'll write active cell dot value equals, I think, text box 1. And we can now name should be offset 0,1. And I can just copy paste it. Department should be combo box 1. Combo box. This will be 4. Once it has saved the values in the Excel sheet, those values should be cleared. Okay. So how do you clear it? Text box 1 dot value equals 2 times double quotes. That means we're entering a null value. And then just copy paste this. You can also clear the combo box if you want. So that will be combo box 1 dot value equals I'll just enter one, do one entry here. If I click on calculations, you should calculate all the values. Now, if I click on save, it should get saved in the Excel sheet as well as you should clear the values. Okay. And you can see that values have been cleared. Now again, I can enter one more record. And that should come below this first record. For exiting, it is just END. Okay. Now suppose I have defined the user form and it is working fine. Now suppose I close the Visual Basic Editor. How will you display the user form here? How will you run any program? Yeah, Alt F8.
And Alt
Correct.
F11 will do.
No, but see here, you have designed the user form. Now you might use the user form for yourself, or you might be designing the user form for any other user. The end user might be different. Now you can't expect the end user to go to Visual Basic Editor and run it. If I don't know the shortcut of any module or any subroutine, how will I run it? Let us say how while recording, I have given a shortcut for a particular macro, but I don't remember it. So is there any alternative method by which I can run that macro even if I don't remember the shortcut?
Alt
We can
F8
also
and
correct Alt F8, right? But when I press Alt F8, it will display the all the subroutines, name of the subroutines, but nowhere here can you see the user form, because this will display only the subroutines, the macros that you have recorded or written. This will not show the user form. The user form cannot be directly displayed. The user form has to be called in a module, and that module can be called. Okay, you can't directly call a user form. So once you have designed the user form, we'll insert one more module. Insert module. Here we'll write sub and say call EMP form. You can give any name. And how will you display the user form? You write user form 1 dot show. Okay. To display the user form on the screen, you write user form 1 dot show. Now this subroutine called as call form, it can be called. You can assign this to a button or the tab, even give a shortcut key. And this name will be displayed in that Alt F8 window. Now, if I press Alt F8, you can see it has come. Okay. Now I want you to assign this to the tab. We already have a tab called as, I think, Excel4all. So there is already a group called as data entries. I want you to add this user form to this particular group. Okay. Yeah, hello. So go to customize ribbon, make sure that forms group is selected. Click on the drop down of popular commands, macros, call form, add it. You can also change the icon. Now the user might enter a numerical value in the name, or he might enter a text value in the salary. So the program should take care of those instances also. Okay. So we have a function called as isNumeric. What isNumeric will do is it will check whether the entered value is numeric or not. So if I want to check whether the entered value in the salary is numerical, we can check the numeric property. And if the value is text value, if it is a text value, it is not numeric. So we can check for that particular property also. So here I check for the salary. So if I double click on this salary, we have a sub text box 4 change. So here I can give the check for the property. Now this should get activated when it when the users exits the text box. So we have an exit property also. So I can write here if that to bring the focus back, I can write
So set focus.
set focus means I want to take the control back to that same text box. If I don't give a set focus, it might go to the next text box. So if I enter any value here, it is going to HRA. When I click on OK, it should go to the same text box again. So maybe I need to put it in a do while.
And so one thing,
Hmm?
you have created this ribbon Excel for all for in this particular Excel,
Right.
and if you want to open it in other Excel, so you have to
Hmm.
keep this file open, and
Right,
then you
right.
have
Correct, correct.
and
This
correct.
has to
No?
be open. Yeah.
This file should be open, and that file should be saved in enable micro workbook. Then only this
No,
will
no, no, no. The other file where you are saving it, that can be a normal Excel file,
normal Excel. Okay.
but this has to be macro enabled.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, you try this. Now this has gone into infinite loop. Just a minute, there is somebody at the door. Well, check this out. It is going into an infinite loop. Meanwhile, you can run the form, enter some to the records. Just check whether it is working fine. The form is working fine, everyone. Hello.
Yes, sir. It's working fine.
Huh. Yeah, this should work. See, there is a cancel property which can be used here. What I'm saying is that if it is not is numeric, that means if it is a text value, then you should be able to cancel it. Okay. And till it is numerical, don't move from that particular text box. And if it is false, that means if the value is numerical, then you should not be able to cancel it. You go to the next field. So if I enter a numerical value, and if I press a tab, I should be able to go to the next field. But if I enter a text, I'm pressing a tab here, but you will see that it is not going to the next field. So this way you can use a validation. Likewise, you can use a validation for the text box also. In case of text box, we can say if is numeric. That means if the value entered is numbers, then give a message. So here I will give a message also. Okay, you can try this. Now here, when I click on the calculations, it is calculating the HRA, TA and gross. But watch here. I can still go to this HRA and make any changes here. So it is allowing me to do a entry here. But ideally what should happen is the user should not be able to select that particular HRA field, right? When I click on this text box 1, you can move to the next text box by pressing a tab. So every control here has a tab stop and a tab index number. So the index number of this text box 1 is, if you scroll down the property box, you should see something called as tab index 8. Okay. And if I go to the full name, text box of full name, the tab index is 9. So it is in a sequence. That is why when you press the tab, it is moving to the next text box. Similarly, if I come to this HRA, the tab index is 12. Okay. So what I can do is, and you also notice that tab stop is true. That means it will allow you to make changes in that particular text box. So what I'll do is, I'll make this tab stop false. Likewise, even for TA, tab stop false. Even for gross, make it false. Now if press the tab, it won't go to that HRA at all. Okay. We can also change the display if you want. Now this is a 3D display of HRA, TA, gross. We can also change it. I'll select HRA and there is something called as style. You can see there is an option called as special effect. Special effect is FRM special effect sunken. So if I click on the drop down, I can make it flat so that no editing can be done. Okay. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Now after this, we have I will paste it.
Sir, I have taken this VBA application, the user form on the Excel, and now I'm trying to go to again to the VBA window. It is not taking me there. So first, what I have to do, like cross it first, and then I have to press Alt 11, F11.
No. You are in the Excel sheet, right?
Yeah. I've got I've just run the code green color over VBA, and this application which we have created now, it has come to Excel. But again, I have to go back to Windows F11 VBA screen.
You
So
can
I'm praying,
you can press Alt F11.
yeah, it is not taking me there. But
So it is giving. Is it giving an error?
no error, but it is
No
not
error.
taking me there.
So just press Alt Tab and see whether you are getting multiple windows. See Alt Tab. You should get.
Yes,
See if you are getting
yes.
you are getting multiple windows. So can you see the editor there? Visual Basic
Yeah,
Editor.
got it. Yes, got it.
Okay. Fine. Now, okay, I'll paste the whole code in the chat window. I'll also send this file, my file on which I have worked. Once the training is done. I don't know if it can be pasted the entire, because in paste in the chat box we have a limitation. I don't know if all this code will come there. I think everything has come.
Yes, it is come.
Okay. This much is clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now, there is something called as add-ins. You must also use some add-ins in your daily work. An example of add-ins would be there is something called as solver. You might be all knowing about goal seek, right? You know what is a goal seek?
We had that function, but we haven't used it.
Okay, fine. But what goal seek will do is, suppose I want to find the value of an unknown factor, we can use a goal seek. For example, let us say suppose the basic of a particular employee is, say, this much. Now suppose there is a CTC of a employee. Now tomorrow, suppose after the appraisal, the CTC becomes say 4 lakhs. If the CTC is 4 lakhs, I want to find out what will be the basic. Okay. So one method is I can do some trial and error method. I can make it 20,000 and see whether the base CTC comes to 4 lakhs or not. But which can be very time consuming and yet trial and error method. So instead of this, we can use a feature called as goal seek. So what I'll do is I'll keep my cell where I want the result. Okay, that is the CTC here. Click on data, what if analysis, and select goal seek. So set cell, that is the CTC cell, to the future value, that is 4 lakhs. Okay, so I want to find out how much will be the basic if the CTC is 4 lakhs. So I'll type set value B6 to 4 lakhs and changing cell will be this basic, because that is what I want to know. That is the unknown factor. Now the moment I click on OK, Excel will automatically calculate and say that if the CTC is going to be 4 lakhs, the basic should be this much. Okay, so this is also called as backward calculation. But in a goal seek, you can change only one parameter. Either you can see what is the change in basic or what is the change in HRA or any some other, only one parameter. But suppose I want to change multiple parameters, then we have something called as solver. Okay, now the solver, it is not a part of your Excel application. It is called as a add-in. So add-in is something which is developed by a third party and then integrated into your Excel application. Now suppose I want to run this add-in solver. What I'll do is I'll go to File, Options, Add-ins. When I click on Add-ins, the interface will change. Here you will get something on the bottom, Manage Excel Add-ins. Now if I click on Go, it will display one more window, which will show me all the add-ins that is in this particular workbook. Now you can see there is a add-in called as solver. I check it, and the moment I click on OK, that add-in will be installed in my system. Okay. Now if I go to data, you see there is a option called as add-in. So this is there's option called as solver. This is a add-in. Now if I click on it, it will display a window like this where I can specify more conditions and see the result. Okay. Likewise, we can also create our own add-ins also. Now the advantage of using an add-in is that it becomes very portable. Now, if you remember, we had written a function called as Indian tax, which calculates the tax. If I want to use that function in a different workbook, okay, I'm not talking about subroutines, I'm talking about functions. So if I want to use that function in a different workbook, then what I need to do is I need to copy paste that code in that different workbook and then run it. Likewise, if I want to run that function in a different system, again, I need to copy and paste that code in that different system. Only then that function will work. So instead of that, what we can do is we can save it as an add-in. Once we save it as add-in, I can just copy and take that add-in with me to any system and then paste it. And that add-in will work, that function will work correctly in that particular system also. One more thing is that once you create an add-in and install it in a particular system, that becomes active for any workbook that you open. Okay. So if you want, you can just watch on the screen, understand it. This is a bit complicated, so make sure that you understand the entire process. What I'll do is, I'll first go to Visual Basic Editor. I want to convert the functions that we have written okay, UDF. Okay. Now what I want to do is, I want to convert this function into a add-in so that this will be available for any worksheet. So first what I'll do is, I'll select it, copy it, and paste it in a notepad. Just to be on the safe side, I'll paste it on a notepad. Minimize this. Close this Excel application. Then open a new Excel file. Go to the Visual Basic Editor of this. Inside a module and paste that code. Okay, that function wala code. Now this is commented. So I'll first remove this comment. Okay. I'll remove the comment first. Then close this Visual Basic Editor. Now I need to save it as an add-in. So how will you save it as add-in? You click on File, Save As. Click on File, Save As. I'll save it in our folder. And here, give a name. Say my add-in. You can give any name. And you need to save it as an add-in. This is very important. So click on this, Save As Type. And if you scroll down, there is an option called as Excel add-in, Excel AM. That is the extension of that. Now, when you save it as an add-in, by default, it will go to a hidden folder. So if you can see on the top, it is saying users, app data, roaming, Microsoft, add-ins. That is a hidden folder, which can be very difficult to find. So what you need to do is you need to store it in a location where you can easily find it. So I will go to our folder here. And save it here. Okay. And you should make sure that it is save as type is Excel add-in. After this, once I saved it as add-in, I will close this Excel workbook. Now, when I close this Excel workbook, it is going to ask me again, do you want to save it? Now you don't save it because we have already saved it as an add-in. So don't save it. Now, if you go to that folder where you have saved it, you can see here there is a file called as my add-in, and you'll also notice that the symbol of that is a little bit different. You can see a small dot on the right top, which is green in color. That means this is an add-in. Okay. Anything with exclamation mark is a macro enabled file. Anything with this dot on the right top, that is a add-in. Now I need to first install this. Now how will you install it? Again, you open a new Excel file. Then you go to File, go to File, Options, Add-ins, Excel add-ins, click on Go. Now you need to click on Browse and select that location where you have saved it. So in my case, it is in Desktop folder. So if you see a check mark, that means it is installed. Now, if I want to run that, say equals what was the name? Indian tax. Zero क्यों ले रहा है? Okay.
So why if we try to write 6 lakh in different cell and
No. That is because the function name is ind underscore tax, but here it is
Okay.
ind tax. I think that is that was the error. Okay. Okay. Only thing is that once you have saved it as an add-in, don't save it again. Now I can go to any Excel workbook. Suppose I close this. Again, I open a new Excel workbook. And that add-in should work in that particular Excel workbook also. Now this is a new file. Equals. You can see the function name. Okay, it will work. So it will work on any Excel workbook that you open in this particular system. Now
but still
suppose
it
you
will
want.
not have an explanation.
Pardon?
But still the even though you have added it as an add-in, but still it will not have explanation like other functions. The way it shows like some like calculation like you have added indirect tax, so it should have explanation, no? Like you have particular added in the system.
It should be displayed.
Yeah, display the the function.
It is getting displayed. Suppose I type equal to IND. You can see it is getting displayed here in the drop down.
Yes, sir. Yes, but the information about the
That will not come. That will not come. Correct. You are absolutely right. Like if I type if and if I open the bracket, you can see the list here. But for an add-in, it will not come because this is a customized function. It will not display. Suppose even if I type index and say Control A, it will not display the argument list.
humans. Okay.
That list will not come.
So it is not at all possible. Like
No, that is not possible because all the functions that is written in your Excel, that is a combination of C, C++, Visual Basic. Okay. So this listing of these arguments are used using your C language. So that cannot be done. Even if there is a function called as date diff.
Yeah.
Even this is a add-in. It is not a
correct.
part of your Excel application. That is why you don't get the arguments
Yes.
here for
Arguments.
data diff. Correct. Okay. Now, if you want to uninstall this, if you want to remove that add-in, the process is same. You just go to options, add-ins, and just uncheck this. Okay. If you see a check mark, that means it has been installed. Now, if I uncheck this and click on OK, it would have removed it. Now, if I try to use the same function, you will not see it in the drop down. That is the first thing. And even if I write it, it is a name error because it has been uninstalled. But again, if I go to add-ins, and check this, now it will work. Yeah. Clear, everyone? So we have completed all the topics. Now what is remaining is the assignment. So it's a very simple assignment. Now you have a folder called as assignment. In that, you might be having two files. Fin data, that is a PDF file, and there is a Excel file called as fin data. Okay. If you open your file, that is fin data, you will have three sheets here. One is data to be entered, then my TB, and then account heads. Okay. In the data to be entered, we have some records here. My TB means my trial balance. You already have some records. Then you have the account heads. Now what you need to do is you need to create the same file. You need to create first a menu like this. Okay. So we have trial balance, profit and loss account, balance sheet, mail as PDF. Now if I click on trial balance, it should display a form like this. Now if I enter, let us say salary, and salary will come under expenses. So we have a drop down here and the amount, say 50,000. Now if I click on submit, it should be saved in the sheet called as My TB. Okay. So if I click on submit, you see that you get a salary. This is the record that I just entered. So 50,000. Okay. So all the records should come one below the other. After that, if I click on this P&L account, it should automatically generate a report like this. This is a pivot table. And if I click on balance sheet, it should give me a balance sheet like this. And if I click on mail as PDF, it should mail it as a PDF. And if I click on exit, it should come out. Okay. So I'll take a break, 10 minutes break. After the break, you can try this.
Sir, can you please repeat it once again? The P&L account. Yes.
I'll do that. P&L account is you should have only the.
Yeah, just for starting, sir. Just from starting.
Sure.
From MYTB.
Okay. See, first is this is your main screen where you have all the different options. Now you have some data that has to be entered. That is, this is the data that is to be entered. Now what the person who is doing the data entry, what he will do is he will first enter all this data. Okay. So for entering the data, he will click on trial balance. So you'll do an entry here. For example, let us say electricity bill, e-bill. Okay. Now e-bill is a expense. So I need to select expenses. Then let us say amount is 25,000. Now if I click on submit, this record should be saved in this file called as data to be entered. Sorry, my TB. So you can see it is saved here. Okay. Now once the entire entry is done, now suppose I want to see the P&L account. So if I click on this, it should automatically display the P&L account. Now this is just a pivot table. And in the pivot table, I have selected only income and expenses. You can also record it. Okay, there is no need to code this. Just record it. And when you're recording it, remove the check mark from assets, liabilities. Likewise, even for a balance sheet, it is a pivot table. I just recorded it. No need to write it or type it down. And for a balance sheet, the process will remain same. Only thing is that in a balance sheet, you will have fixed asset, current assets, and liabilities. Income and expenses will not be there. And if you want to look at the code, you can see here, balance sheet pivot. Okay, they just recorded. You already seen how this can be recorded. Then if you look at P&L account, even this is recorded. You don't have to write it. Only thing you need to make some minor changes because every time you generate a pivot table, it will go on adding new sheets. So we need to, here you can see, it will by default add, where is that? Sheets.add. Okay. So we need to comment it or delete it. And accordingly, you make the changes. And this is your user form. Okay. When you click on trial balance, this is the user form that is displayed. And these are the code behind that. This is the how it should be saved in that TB sheet. This is just clear it. and this is exit. Okay. And when the user form is initialized, this is the code to populate it. One method is you can manually write it, or we can also use a loop, because I already have these account heads. The account heads are already there. So you can also put it in a loop and populate the combo box. Okay. Now we'll take a break, 10 minutes. Then you try to do this, or we'll do this entire process together. But I want you to genuinely try it, because unless you try it, you'll not be able to develop your own programs, right?
Sure, sir. Yes.
Huh.
Sir,
Okay.
one thing.
So, huh.
Last week I asked, like, just kind of one dynamic path and folder, and probably I need to pull the specific column, not all the columns, right?
Correct.
So did you get chance, or do you have any plan to show that today?
Yeah, I'll show that also.
Okay.
So the program that I have shown you earlier,
yeah,
that will automatically give you a dynamic path for the folder. Okay. Now in this case, what I'm doing is I'm pulling the entire data.
Entire table, right?
So correct. So if you want some specific data, we can do that also. Okay.
Okay, probably just show me after that.
I'll do that. Yes.
Sure, sir.
So save the file. We'll take a break.
So when we
We'll
are
again resume at 12:30.
Sure.
Fine.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Is everyone back? Okay. Saket, you had the query of taking only specific columns from a different sheet, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Others can start the assignment. Saket, you can just watch on the screen. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Huh. Now, I had already written a program where we took the entire data from multiple sheets. I'll make changes to the same program. Only in this case, I'll be making changes. I'll be getting only some specific columns. Okay. The screen is visible.
Yes.
So I'll make a copy of this, and in that, we'll change the code to get only specific columns. Now, suppose I want the data, let us say only department and region from all the files. Okay. All the other statements will remain same. Here instead of A1, I want department and region. So I'll select D1. I'll also show how you can get, say, different columns also, right? So D1 to copy that, go to A1 10,48. I think this should work. Okay, from department it is taking the entire data. Okay.
Sir, it's
Suppose,
I got that point that probably you changed the basically range, but what I am facing currently the issue. Suppose there are 5-6 column where we know that department. If there are suppose I would say 100 plus column, right? And I have only choice that I can pull the column, right? Only on the basis of its heading. Basically region maybe somewhere around 70th column, right? Branches somewhere around 90th column. So I have this summary of data. I want to paste it into that big Excel, but I want that region should look into region and paste it whatever column it is.
Right.
And
So
it's a unique heading.
okay. So in this case, I'll pick only department and let us say branch.
Right.
Okay. So that is what I was going to show you. So first I was going to show you from department onwards. Then I also make changes so that we pick only department and let us say branch.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So this is clear, right? How to pick up
Yes.
data from a particular column, right?
Yes.
Now, since the data that we are going to pull out, it is not going to be consecutive. It might be in different locations. So we need to define variables for that. So first what I'll do is here I'll display some more variables. Say dim DRNG, which stands for department range as range. Then dim, we want branch, right? So BRNG as range again. And here I'll select D1 and here I will write set DRNG equals range active cell 2 and Excel down, and I don't want this. Likewise, set BRNG equals F1. It should be active from active cell to active cell dot and Excel down. And this will be active cell to active cell dot and Excel. Then to copy only that, I'll write range DRNG, comma BRNG. I'll explain the logic afterwards. Let us first see how this works or not. Copy. Okay. Then close the book, come back to consolidation and paste it. It became the region also. Okay. Now it is copying only those columns. Only thing I need to do is make sure that it is getting copied in the right place. So यहाँ पे पेस्ट करने से पहले so before you close that workbook, you need to come back to that region file and then close it. So now only department and branch are getting copied and pasted. Okay. Now we need to keep only one header. Okay, I made changes in the original module. You just watch on the screen. Now this should work. Fit. These are the department. Then it is selecting the branch. There is the second workbook, North. this south. Okay, sorry data आ गया. Now I need to remove this departments. Okay, so we got all the 100 records here.
Yeah, got it. But generally,
Ah.
yeah, overall, we need to give the cell reference if we need to copy and paste.
Right.
There is no like in Excel, we use this match function for kind of.
You can use a
heading.
similar option. You can use a similar option here also.
We can use.
But what you need to do is you need to know the header name. Okay.
Yes.
And what you can do is you can loop to the entire thing.
Headings.
And if it is found, then you take it down. So I can show that also. What I'll do is, let us say we'll take the same data. So then I need to use a do while here. So first I will you are opening the file, then instead of going to D1, I will say range A1 but here I am assuming that the data is starting from A1. Okay. A1.select. Then I will say do while active cell dot value equals DPT. Dual active cell value is not equal to DPT because once it finds DPT, it should stop. Okay. Then here I will say active cell dot offset. I want to go to the next column. So I'll say offset 0,1 dot select. Then loop. That means what I'm telling is that till you find this DPT, you go on looping, you are go on moving to the next column. Then once it is found, I can say no, that cell will be selected. So you should automatically give me this copy. So let us see. If it is working for department, it should work for branch also. Okay. First, let me save it. F8. It has gone to A1. Now it should search for it. It has gone to first name because employee code is not equal to department. Then last name, department. Now it should come out. So now So this should work.
Yeah. So suppose in this case, the first condition I'm fine that it is keep moving the row, keep moving the column basically to see that if that department heading is matching.
Correct.
Suppose I have those kind of 10 to 12 column, then I need to type every time that department value, this column heading, like that way.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And then suppose in this case you define that it should be pasted in say A1 or right A1 right in this case.
Right.
But in my case, suppose if I want to paste it exactly on the column heading as a department, maybe it's on some AA1s, right?
Correct.
So I
Again,
need to
then
give
you
that
need to
range.
search. Yeah, do your search here also.
Okay.
The region
And then
consolidation.
same way.
Same way.
Okay, and then
once
go
it is
and
found,
paste.
once it is found, come one row down because you must be already having a header in that case.
Yes.
So in that case, don't directly. So this particular I1 this statement will be required because the next time you paste it, you need to come to the next blank cell. So this is not needed. A1 is not needed.
Because why I am asking this, because suppose if tomorrow accidentally somebody has inserted one column here and there, right? So it should not go by the column range like A1 or AB1. It should basically based on the headings.
Right. So
That's
you can
what.
put a do while here also and check for the header and then paste it.
Okay. Probably I will try, and if I
I will
if I
copy
get,
and paste it. I will copy and paste. I will send the file to you.
Sure.
And then just you need to make some minor changes and it should work suit your requirement also.
Okay, sure. Thanks a lot for this.
Welcome. So I have both the programs here. One is for getting the entire data and one is for specific columns. Okay. Are you doing the assignments? Anyone?
Yes, sir. Facing difficulties, yes.
Okay, just watch on the screen. We'll do it along together. So open that file. I'll remove this. Okay, this is our file. Data to be entered, my TB, then account heads. Okay, so first we need to have a menu sheet where you can see all the menus. So for that, inside one sheet, I showed only for one option. You can then replicate it. You can name it as menu or splash, whatever. Inside a blank sheet. To remove this grid lines, you click on View and check grid lines. You can give the company name here. I'll use a word art. Then, instead of a button, I'll select shape. Any shape you can select. So this will be our trial balance. Then create a copy of this. This will be P&L account. You can align this by going to shape format, align to the left, and then again align, distribute vertical. Now what should happen is when I click on this trial balance, that user form should be displayed. And when I do the entry and click on submit, that should get submitted in this particular sheet. Not in this sheet, this particular sheet. Okay. This much is done.
Yes, sir. This much is done, sir.
Huh.
The formatting part of the pivot table is a issue for me. Like it is not coming the format which you have given. Like
okay, fine. But you have generated the user form, that designed user form, that is done.
So user form, I got it. So how to do it, sir? I have done it when we started, and I got it. But the main thing is here.
Fine.
Yeah.
So can I directly show about the P&L account? What about others?
Yes, sir.
They are clear about the user form?
Clear, sir, but yet to do. The thing is, we watched those consolidation part, and that's the thing.
Okay, fine. So I'll do one thing. I'll show you the P&L account. Okay. Whenever you get the time, you try to design the user form and create those buttons and save the file.
Okay.
In that worksheet.
Yes.
I'll show you the P&L account. Similarly, you can do it for balance sheet also.
Sure.
Sure, sir.
So what I'll do is I'll record a macro. So first I'll go to keep my cell anywhere in the main database, that is in this case my TB. Then record macro. I'm giving the name as P underscore L. You can't give a and symbol here. So P underscore L. And then you can say account. Then I'm not going to give a shortcut key because we are going to assign this to the button there. So just click on OK. Insert pivot table. Account head, account title, then balance. Okay.
Then, so I did the same thing, sir, but it is not coming in this form.
Wait. I know
account
that is
head,
because that
account.
that was because you must in your case it might be displayed, say something like this, right? Are you getting your report like this?
Yes, sir, I'm getting like this only. Yes.
So in this case, in that case, what you need to do is when you're recording it, you need to go to design, report layout, and make it show in tabular form. Okay, when you select tabular form, only then it will come in a table format. Then
tabular format.
I want only expenses and
इनकम एंड एक्सपेंस
हाँ इनकम ठीक है इसमें इनकम नहीं है क्योंकि हम लोगों ने एंट्री नहीं किया ना तो डिस्प्ले ओनली expenses.
That's what I was thinking. So I've copied the income and put in the expense. I'm doing the same thing and I was trying why it is not coming for me. Like
okay fine.
Yeah.
तो ये हो गया. Then you can also display it in a specific design if you want. Then stop the recording. Now this will generate an error because it will always generate a new sheet. So I will rename this sheet as say P&L account. Then we'll go to our code here. And I don't want the sheet to be added. So either you can comment it or remove it. So first I need to go to this sheet P&L account. Because there might be data in there. So we need to delete it first. So select the sheet, cells dot clear. Then source data will remain same, table data. Table destination will be this. Then even this will change. Then here account data, account title, balance. Okay. Now if I run this, this should work without any error. Let me just check. So once I clear the data, you need to come to this file again. I think this should not give any error because table 2 means that is a table that is in my TB. Else we'll see. Else we need to come to TB and then do it. I'll run it step by step. F8. Okay, so we need to go to TB first, then generate it. And to be on the safe side, I'll go to range A1.
So when this kind of error comes to me, what I do, I just copy all the thing and I just create a new
Put it in
model and
Google,
paste
yeah.
it to that. Yet I play it and it plays. That it is not an error sometime. It is just some runtime issue. Or
लेकिन यहाँ पे source is table 2, that is correct. यहाँ पे क्यों generate कर रहा है? Invalid procedure. P&L account. शायद, yes, I got it. You can't have a space in the sheet name. I will give you underscore. Fine. But this is actually a bug because if you have a space in the sheet name, it is generating error. And that happens only in pivot table, not even with any other modules. Now this should work without any error. I directly run it. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to
assign it.
Yeah,
to the
assign
tab.
it. Yeah. So right click, assign macro, P&L account. Okay. Now if I click on this, it should display the same thing you can do for balance sheet also. Okay.
Okay. Yes. It means only tabular thing we have got. I got stuck. I was confused by
Okay.
tabular.
Okay.
Yeah. Correct. Yes. And one more thing, sir. In that P&L account, the sequence of your this thing, the sample PDF, it is income first. It is income, then it is showing income total, and then
so
expenses.
Correct.
So
once you
stuff,
right. Well, once you generate this, you can just drag that income and put it on the top. While recording itself, just drag the income and put it on the top.
I'm unable to drag it because that's what I was thinking.
Okay, I'll do one thing. I will put some income here. इनकम क्या रहेगा? डेबिट ना?
Yes, sir.
हाँ. So what you do is once you generate it, इसको ऐसे पकड़ के just drag it to the top.
Okay.
But while doing it in the recording itself.
Recording or in recording only you have to do it.
In the recording itself, you just drag it. Once this is generated, just drag it to the top, and that will be recorded in the macro also.
Okay, got it, sir. Sir, can you please help me? Can I share my screen? My screen is Excel is stuck. I'll give you control. Can you please help me out in this? I don't know what was happening.
If you are in a break mode, then you will not be able to type anything.
Can you see this?
हाँ, want to save changes ना? हाँ कर दो ना, yes कर दो.
It was not coming.
करो, save करो. You are not able to select that also.
No, the file is gone. Maybe. No, it's not. No, file is gone. Okay, so I have to create a new one then. Maybe.
No, don't create it. But you understood the logic, na?
Yes, sir, I understood the logic.
So I will send you my file, my solution. I will send it. You can just go through it and try to recreate that. If you are getting stuck anywhere, then you can refer to my particular file. Okay?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Yeah.
That is how you will learn.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
What about others? Any difficulty?
So just wanted to show you because already I'm sharing the sheet. So I have just created a like Excel thing, the manual. Just give me one moment. I'll show you.
Okay.
So this is what I created. I was just last time you said to create something, and I was not aware that there is some kind of user form or something.
Okay.
I was just trying to create this.
This is, you must have used form controls, right?
Yes. I was just I thought you were saying this, so I was just creating this one.
नहीं अच्छा है, ये भी आपका practice हो गया ना अभी.
Yes, sir. And you said that if it's flickering, we have to add the application screen update. So I have done some changes. So it was because unfortunately something went wrong, but I have learned something new.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
What about others, Sujata? You are able to do this?
Yet to start, sir. Because I keep watching what is happening here. So I yet to once I come across any issues, I'll mail to you.
Sure.
And one more thing, sir, while you are teaching that goal seek, my net got disconnected and again I rejoined in that time. But I could understand that goal seek is like a what if analysis. If some value is like if we change, what is the impact of the other value? That is what the goal seek is, right?
Exactly, right.
Okay, then is that the forecast is also in the same way? Because we need to do some forecast analysis.
Forecast is what will happen in the future, right? If let us say my sales is, let us say for this particular year, the sales is say 125 crores, then forecast is depending on the past values, it will try to give a figure which might be your future sales. Let us say, for example, for the last 10 years, I have some sales figures. And if I use a forecast function, it will try to give you what is the sales that will happen according to the past values that will happen in the future. So if I want to find out what will be my sales in 2025, depending on the past values, that forecast function can give you that value. So if the average is, let us say,
is that the
125.
straight function we are using it, or some other analysis?
No, that is a straight function.
Straight function, okay.
If you go to data,
do you have any instance for that?
Forecast. I have not used it, but I can show it.
Okay.
Forecast sheet. Okay, I'm using a function called as forecast, but you also have a ready-made application also for that. Let us say I have some values here for.
I can't see your screen.
So screen is not showing.
Okay. Sorry. Once somebody else shares it, my sharing automatically goes up.
Okay.
Not is visible?
Yes.
Let us say for 2010. For 2015, I want to find out what might be the sales. So here I can use the forecast function. Yeah, this is. Known wise, known X. Known wise of this. So it says if your sales is 125, 250, then in 2015, according to the past sales, this should be this much.
Okay. I got it. And one more request, the file which you are sending across for all the clarifications which Bishali and the other, I think Shasha had say, asked, please send it across to everyone so that
I will. Both my file, my work file, and this assignment, I'll send it to all of you.
And one more thing, sir, this assignment we have created in Excel, and we need to get into that Excel, and there we are demonstrating like that. But if we want to present it as a tool, what we should do? It should be as a tool for everyone. If you are presenting the as a tool to the team, is there any other way, or we just need to share this Excel?
You can put it on a shared folder, and everyone will be having access to that.
This is itself is a tool, you are saying?
Correct. This is a sort of a small application, you can say, because you have a menu here. You have the different options. Or what you can do is you can also put it on you can also create a new tab
Okay.
and put it on that also.
What I'm saying is in this the tool which is appearing in the Excel application as a separate tool. If I want to share it, what should I do?
So separate tool, you mean you want to use
All
this
the
as
Excel. Yes.
as a standalone
Yes.
say
Yes.
program.
Yes.
See, in Visual Basic, that is VBA, you need to have Excel to run this particular program. Without Excel, you can't run it.
Okay.
Because Visual Basic is a program that is embedded inside Excel.
Okay.
I think you are referring to something like
Automation.
VB.NET. In a VB.NET, we can create standalone programs. You can create a executable file. And if you share that executable file with anyone, they don't need to have Visual Basic VB.NET installed on their systems. But if you are sending this Excel file, and if the other person doesn't have Excel, this is not going to run. You need to have Excel for this particular program to run.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. What about others? Rekha, you are clear about the concepts now?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, fine. Ronit have been very quiet throughout the session. Ronit?
Yeah, I'm just understanding the things. So I have one doubt here. It's a user form. I understood how to use it.
Okay.
When it comes to in developer tab, we have these buttons. So how do I use the option and because I always get stuck on that. Let's have two things.
Correct. There is something called as there is something called as form controls, and you have ActiveX controls. Right. Now, in an Excel sheet, if you want to use the checkboxes, radio buttons, the combo box, then we need to use the form controls. But if you want some program to be associated with that particular control, then we need to use ActiveX. For example, here, if I click on the button of ActiveX and draw it, now if I click on that, it is not going to give any result because we are not written any program behind this. When I'm inserting a form button, I can assign one macro to this. Okay. But when you insert ActiveX control, then we need to write the program behind that. So if I double click on this command button 1, you will see it will open a code window. Can you see private sub command button 1 click? So if I want to run some code, then what I can do is, let us say for that time being, I'm giving some message box welcome. Now what will happen is, if I click on this command button, it will display a message like this. So in ActiveX, you need to have a program behind that. So this is like you are having a button in the user form. User form is a separate, let us say, interface. But in an Excel sheet, suppose you want to give the, let us say, feature of using the user form, then we need to have a program behind this. Then you need to use ActiveX. But if you're using a form control, then we can assign any macro to that. But in ActiveX, you need to write the program for that. So instead of using a user form, if you want to use a kind of user form interface in the Excel sheet itself, then you can use a ActiveX for that. No need to design a user form. Okay.
And so you said that you will tell about form that in command all you can that I have asked you.
Correct. I think they have removed it from data. Now it is in your, you need to customize it, I think, right?
Yes, sir. Customize ribbon in command all commands.
Inform.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now see, if you click on new,
Yes, sir.
it will automatically add a new record. If I say serial number, say 21, तो आ गया। जस्ट न्यू पे क्लिक करेंगे ना, ऑटोमेटिक आ जाता है।
Okay, got it. I thought where it goes. No, I was just taking sample pic and it was not reflecting in there. I
Right.
thought where it is going. Okay, got it.
And you can go to the find previous.
Previous.
So automatically it will be displayed in the boxes also. And यहाँ पे एक option भी था. Go to the first one, something like that. I think that is not there.
Okay. This criteria.
Criteria, you can give a condition there. लेकिन Prabhas, any idea how the criteria can be used here?
Which one, Amar?
यहाँ पे जो फॉर्म है ना, इसका जो एक्सेल का इनबिल्ट फॉर्म है ना,
हाँ हाँ,
तो वहाँ पे क्राइटेरिया हम लोग कैसे यूज कर सकते, पता है क्या?
नहीं क्राइटेरिया तो अभी और नहीं है ना, वो नया फॉर्म मुझे अभी बनाया अभी नहीं है उसमें और।
अच्छा, ओके। मेरे ख्याल से आई थिंक प्रीवियसली वी कुड गिव समथिंग लाइक इफ फंक्शन इनसाइड दैट ना।
हाँ हाँ,
लेकिन अभी मैं यहाँ पे क्लिक करता हूँ, कुछ पैरामीटर्स दिखाता ही नहीं है। So how did you all find the training? You found it informative, interesting? Did you learn new things?
Yes, sir. Very much, sir.
Yes, very much useful.
Amar,
sir.
just go. Sorry to
Yes,
interrupt you. Amar, just go to that form. Go to that form again, please. Okay, just criteria you go for criteria.
क्लिक करूं?
हाँ, उसमें कोई भी क्राइटेरिया, मतलब सपोज मान लो हमारा अकाउंट टाइटल, उसमें सिर्फ सेल्स डालो, sales and execute now. Let's see. Just sales. हाँ.
ना लेकिन क्या रिस्टोर
नहीं ये सिर्फ देगा मतलब डेटा सर्चिंग के लिए, जैसे कि हम सर्च इंजन यूज करते हैं ना एडवांस फिल्टर में.
हाँ.
So it's a kind of things it will work. So from the entire data where the sales records are there, that alone will be reflecting on the screen.
हाँ लेकिन now where do I click? Form में क्या? Again go back to form. अच्छा, it has automatically gone to the first sales records, I think.
That is what, क्योंकि only one record is there ना sales, that's why.
हाँ ठीक है, मैं और एक काम करता हूँ और एक ऐड करता हूँ.
Multiple यहाँ पे account set expenses दे दो ना.
क्या बोल रहा है?
ठीक है, you continue, no problem.
हाँ. एलिमेंट नहीं, इसको भी सेल्स कर देता हूँ. So it has gone to the first sales. Now if I say find next, it should go to the next sales. हाँ बराबर, right. Correct. 22. हाँ okay.
Sir, I was thinking if I create
हाँ मुझे भी वही लगा था.
When continue it is coming to criteria. So समझ में नहीं आता.
नहीं. I thought that maybe you could give some function like if the value is more than 50,000, go to that particular record, something like that.
Correct.
लेकिन वो नहीं था. ठीक है.
Got it.
There is one more request to you. Please guide the people if it is possible, because I'm not sure. I'm just asking because yesterday only I came across something, the requirement. Like when we go for a form control, suppose say we are designing a feedback form for the people, okay? And we have got the different parameters in the form of a drop down.
Right.
But the problem is the drop down list is not visible on the screen unless and until you are navigating to that cell. So how to make it visible all the time? I mean, the moment we open the form, all the drop-down list should be visible on the screen. Is there any option in the parental control in the VBA side that we can do that? Like our government contracts and our ITF forms, if you look at, all the ready-made drop-downs are visible.
So if I click on that trial balance, you are getting a user form, but in that you want the combo to be automatically displayed, right?
Yeah, the drop-down list should be visible. That the data validation, what we do normally.
So you want this drop-down to be visible.
See, now it is in the form control side. What I'm saying is in Excel, suppose we have in the Excel backend itself, in the background itself, in the interface itself, when we create a drop-down list with data validation.
Acha, okay.
Right. You go to just create some one data validation, ABC something. Right.
So this should be by default, it should display like this.
Yes. No, it should not display the parameters. I'm just telling you keep the cursor outside. See that now the drop down list
is निकल जाएगा.
Correct. So वो दिखना चाहिए.
अच्छा, वो drop down दिखना चाहिए.
Yes.
So normally what I do is one thing is I give it a different color so that the user knows that there is a drop down. और हम लोग क्या करते हैं इसके बाजू में ही, ठीक है, you go to developer और यहाँ पे ये जो कौन सा है, you can draw a drop down there.
मतलब एक बटन जैसा लुक वहाँ पे ऑटोमेटिक
एक बटन जैसे, हाँ, ड्रॉप डाउन जैसा एक लुक दे सकते हैं.
तो वो तो हम शेप या आइकन्स भी लगा सकते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
कहाँ पे?
कि नहीं shapes या icons ऐसा
हाँ
कुछ भी
shapes
लगा
हाँ
सकते
वहाँ
हैं।
से भी डाल के I think that is the
ठीक है।
only option yeah और कुछ
नहीं,
हम लोग
लेकिन
नहीं
वो
कर
लोग कैसे
हाँ
करते हैं? ये जो ITR फॉर्म्स में वो बाय डिफॉल्ट दिखता है, वो कैसे बनता है फिर? Is this something .NET technology, something they are using or any other technology?
नहीं वो भी एक्सेल शीट में ही रहता ना वो
हाँ, एक्सेल में ही
Excel
रहता है,
sheet में
मैक्रो एनेबल्ड होके।
राइट 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 मेरे ख्याल से ऐसे ही कुछ यूज करता रहेगा क्योंकि
नहीं, मुझे लगा कि मतलब ऐसे पेरेंटल प्रॉपर्टीज मतलब जैसे कि ट्रू फॉल्स या ऑप्शन ऑन डिस्प्ले ऑलवेज ऑन ऐसा कुछ है क्या प्रॉपर्टी हम सेट कर सकते हैं ऑब्जेक्ट लाइब्रेरी से?
if I मेरे ख्याल से वो एक्टिव एज कंट्रोल्स रहेगा क्योंकि यहाँ पे देखो इवन इफ आई क्लिक ऑन अ डिफरेंट सेल दिस इज गेटिंग डिस्प्लेड देखो
But it doesn't seem like that in that form. But I will show you of late.
Okay.
चलो ठीक है, अभी you can help people for clarifying the queries. We'll discuss that. No problem.
चलेगा ठीक So I want all of you to practice, go through the video recordings, then try to do the assignment on your own.
Yes,
If you are getting stuck anywhere, then you can refer to my sheet. I'll send this worksheet as well as जो assignment sheet है दोनों में भेज देता हूँ. In fact, I will zip the entire folder and send it across. I think that will be better, right?
Sure, sir. Yes, sir.
हाँ.
So I have a query.
हाँ.
This VBA macro is not only meant for Excel, it is for all MS Microsoft applications,
right. For
like
Word,
Office applications
correct,
and all,
correct,
right?
Correct.
For PowerPoint itself. Instead of getting into their .NET and signing as a standalone project, if I design instead of user form, if I design a form in PowerPoint, then can I connect it to the Excel commands?
Yes, you can. Now, if you remember, we had done a similar program, but that was sending a mail through Outlook.
Yes.
Right. If you click on a button in Excel, it should automatically send a mail through Outlook. So then we were using the Outlook objects. So if you want to control, see either way you can do it. Either you can control PowerPoint from Excel, or we can also control Excel from PowerPoint. Fine. But only thing is that what I would advise is that you try to, if you want to, let us say, create a presentation of your data that is in Excel, it is better to write the program in Excel to control PowerPoint, because from 2007 onwards, the recording part in PowerPoint has been removed. You can't record. You need to do pure coding for that.
So if I'm not wrong, all the coding part I need to complete in Excel. Then I'm assigned to that buttons in the presentation. Is that right? Or
no. You on a click of a button in Excel, it will automatically create a presentation in PowerPoint.
Okay.
But else you can also do the other way around, but you need to literally write every statement in PowerPoint because the recording facility is not there. That is one thing. One more limitation is that even if you try to record from Excel, Excel can record when you do a macro recording. Excel can record only the actions that you do in Excel. But if you go to a different application, that cannot be recorded. Okay, the recording will take place only in that current application.
Okay, apart from recording, if I write the code, then it will work.
Then it will work.
Okay, then.
It will work.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have one question for Prabhas sir. Prabhas sir, means you also conduct Power Pivot or Power Query because it was not covered in under Excel, I believe.
No, that is a separate program, Abhishek, because see, in this kind of common platform like our weekend workshops, we cannot conduct in this all these things in the 2 days, because to understand that people should have got at least some one more level one knowledge of pivot table and all those things, then only they can learn Power Pivot. So those things is a customized program only for the corporates, the people who are already working in Excel and they want to enhance the skill exclusively on pivot table, Power Pivot, and Power Query. So there is a 2 days program we have, and we do deliver such kind of customized programs.
Okay, so it will be only for corporates, but not for us, like
not for the individuals at this state, because people from different mixed crowd people comes over here. Again, we conduct such kind of classes when all the people from one company, they are coming up to our program. Suppose say there are 10 people, they do not have the time in the weekdays, they can engage themselves for the learning, they want to come to our workshops. So we customize the program for them if all the crowds of one single concern.
Okay, got it. And so you have mentioned this forecast and forecast linear functions like
that is what Sujata, somebody asked about, that how to make the forecast and all. So this is for the self-learning purpose. We have shared a link. It's a Microsoft tutorial only. So you can use the linear function. There is a forecast seasonal functions also there. Forecast function is there. So there are variations depending upon the versions of Microsoft Excel. So whichever it is available, you can make use of that.
Sure, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Prabhas, I am also in need of this Power Query and Power Pivot calibers. Then how do I make it? So you said that it is not possible for, because I was thinking of doing it.
I do understand, Sujata. That's what I told you. It is not possible in these programs like our individual training programs. We can customize this. So if you can, help out to your L&D team of your concerns, we can organize a training program for your corporate. So that can be done. So in fact, Amar is only delivering that. Those things we have already delivered to CE8, Bridgestone, such kind of companies. And for that, there is a certain prerequisites we do have. People should have well versed in pivot table, and they are good at in Excel, or they're the core users of Excel, something like that. Then only they can nominate for those programs. If you're a basic user, we say big no to that.
Okay, then if you take up that Power BI course, then Power Query and Power Pivot are part of Power BI, right?
Yes.
Then those will be covered in that Power BI, right?
Yes. That is Power BI is meant for that only. In the backend, 2 things are running. For data modeling and creations of the connections, you are using Power Pivot, and for the data transformation and data cleansing, you are using Power Query. So that is the integrated applications in Power BI itself. So those, if you are nominating yourself for Power BI training program, that will be enough, because you are going to learn all those things in Power BI training.
That will be inclusive of dashboards also, right?
Everything.
Power Query.
Everything.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, then that is the only way then we can learn the Power Query and Power Pivot dashboard, all those on Power BI only.
Right. If you want to get trained by a tutor, if you want to learn by your self-pace, we can help you out with some links and all. That is the helping hand we can give it out. Don't worry.
Can
like
you
some
please?
YouTube. Yes. I will be dropping an email to you with all the necessary video links. You can go through that and you can learn from your own. It's not an issue. It's not an impossible things, but only thing is you have to a little bit be thorough with the pivot table techniques and the data modeling and the DAX functions and the measures.
Anyway, I'll be taking up Power BI tutorial from you, but it will take time. So I need some time to get into that. But till that, if you give the self-learning materials, let me try, because in day out process, I am getting to do that, and I'm struggling. I'm stuck there. If you help with me, that will be.
Yes. That you can mark my words, you will be getting those details. Don't worry about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Prabhas, one thing. Saket has sent the message that please include me. So we can send the links to all the participants.
Yes. It will be. So we are not discriminating. Entire group will be sending it across. Don't worry, people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for taking your time out and attending the session. Have a great weekend. It is already a weekend, right? Okay. Have a nice time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.